The state of homelessness for everybody right now, but especially for Indigenous people, it is atrocious. It's horrible, and it really disgusts me.
Oh yeah, the runaround. When it comes to the hide and seek game you mentioned there, and you're inquiring about it's bylaw. The bylaw workers keep you on your toes. It's I call it high cost hide and seek with the homeless, with no actual end game in sight. Like there's no actual like they don't have a place to chase you to go to, but they'll chase you anyway.
When I was in a dangerous situation, I wasn't thinking about counseling or getting well or anything else like that. My big concern was, can I survive the next hour? Can I survive the next night?
When it comes to the clash of bylaw officers and homeless people, I find where that hits the hardest is the fact that you're wet and cold, no fires. You're wet and you want to get out of the wet and cold, no tents, take it down. Like no building anything, no putting a nail in a tree. That really just drives the most at risk demographic in society into the fringes of the community where they can then be victimized further. Vigilantes, overdoses, exposure, bad weather, wild animals. The list goes on and on.
That people are losing not just their tents, their sleeping bags, their clothes, but they're also losing personal items such as ID, family heirlooms, photographs, ashes of loved ones, medications are being just tossed in the trash. That's made it impossible for people to maintain a stable life.
I came to Comox Valley being entirely prepared to live in a tent. I had made some connections and I had had a phone call with somebody who did very much help me. But I felt very unsafe. I felt as if there was no certain stability for me once I came here, because I know how rare it is to find some place that is accepting of trans individuals that are experiencing homelessness. I knew that eventually I could find the gay people. I can find a queer and 2S LGBTQIA plus community and make friends, and somebody would help me. They're out there, the gay people. Maybe there's even gay people in this theater right now. Maybe it's you. Is it you?
Things that I have seen people lose or that I have lost, the number one thing that stands out to me was my buddy Chris, came in and dropped me off here earlier. They threw out his keys, and he was the janitor for the town of Cumberland. He was a nighttime janitor for the town of Cumberland, and they threw out his work keys.
It's always key to remember that these people are somebody's mother or father or daughter or son. They are somebody. I've lost quite a few people along the way. And so for me, it's very important to just say, listen, this is a person. Don't look down at them. Say hi. I go a little further and sit down with them and talk to them. Talk to these people. Not talk to them, but talk to these people. And the stories that I've heard are just so beautiful and incredible and heartbreaking. And it's painful and joyful at the same time, because sitting down with them, you can see they'll light up. And, even as I said, just the hi. How are you? Are you safe? Things like that. I mean, it's human decency. And that seems to be lacking lately.
When it comes to the mixed bag of compassion, it definitely, right now we're in a dry spell though. There doesn't seem to be any of it around. But when it is there, it is appreciated beyond belief, and recognized. And I think those people, those employees that do bring that sense of compassion, leave with more than a paycheck. They leave with a sense of fulfillment, right? Like somebody who's doing, like there's a quote from, I can't remember who, but one of the greatest joys in life is finding hard work worth doing, right? And I think that they go home with that sense of completion, not just their wallet filled, yeah.
I get to see people's eyes start to light up again. I get to see, just after a month and a half, 2 months, I see just all of a sudden enthusiasm for life. And, any issues we have in the house right now is kind of so minor. Like, close the cupboard doors, put the dishes in the dishwasher, things like that. And it's just, but to see them, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, wraparound services are everything a person might need. That might be going to the doctor. That might mean a crisis that they're having. And a lot of people, when they're in addiction, they go from crisis to crisis. The crisis they have in the morning might not be the same crisis they're having in the afternoon. So it's being there for their crisis, being a trusted person to them that they feel that they can go to with anything. Wraparound services also include, once somebody has housing, helping somebody to maintain that housing, doing whatever it takes to maintain that housing. Whether that, if they are using drugs, well then creating a plan for them, a safety plan for them, a harm reduction plan for them, so that their houses are not being taken over. Somebody's coming over and being that person of responsibility for that person. And then there's the recreational department, part of it too. Taking the person out into the land, cultural services for Indigenous people. There's very, very few cultural services for urban Indigenous people right now. The people that work for Dr. Don now are doing the best that they can. They're volunteering a lot of their time. They're working more hours than they're being paid. They're not being paid very well.
Comox Valley is a place that you have to know somebody to get into some place. And a lot of people, most things are word of mouth. And if you're new to this community, there isn't like a good way for you to get employed. There isn't a good way for you to get housed. There isn't a good way for you to access support without places that I consider as being on the front line of action on homelessness.
We're all funded based. All of our organizations are based on funding, right? So we need to pander to the funders. Yeah, it's very easy to get blacklisted if you say the wrong thing. And so there's very few of us. I would say there's a small handful, a half dozen of us who are not afraid to say what needs to be said in this community.
There's a lot of empty buildings around here that are remaining empty just because somebody's waiting to make a profit off of it. Until we take these buildings off of the market and turn it into non-market housing, we're not going to be able to lower the rent of these places. We're not going to be able to live in a sustainable manner. We need to come together as a community to prioritize people over profit, and we need to do that ourselves. That means like everybody who's listening to this right now. It does need to be you. It can't be anyone else. There isn't going to be anybody. We can't trust the government to come in and regulate these prices for us. We need to do it ourselves.
Dawn to Dawn is different in that they don't have bigger bosses. They're able to do what the needs are of the community. They're able to react. They're able to change. They seem to have a board that is on their side. Angela and Andrew seem to work very well together and are able to be reactive to the needs of their clients and participants. And that's the biggest thing is there's very few of us in this community who are able to speak up and say what we want, what we mean, and what needs to be said.